All right, guys. Here's a very important issue that you have to understand if you're a setter. I don't expect you if you are a closer. The reason why you're a closer is because you're already advanced through this process, and you understand that you need decision makers to be there if you plan on closing that deal at the end of the call. So I'm not really talking to closers. I'm talking to setters, especially setters that are brand new or setters that haven't gotten it. You have to be considerate of the time that the closer is going to put in into that deal. When you schedule an appointment with a closer in a prospect or prospects, you have to take into consideration that that closer probably could have gotten another closer closes, but he or she got on your close because that was the time available that you selected for that person to go and pitch your deal. So you got to be very responsible. Please don't take this into take don't take this for granted. Be extremely strict as far as decision makers. Always, when you set up a deal, that deal has to have all decision makers accounted for. If the person is married, you would assume that if that person is married, that person needs their spouse there. Okay? Unless otherwise. And they're going to tell you, they're going to pull back if there's sometimes husbands and wives make independent decisions. They're very advanced in business, and they're going to tell you, hey, listen, my wife makes her decisions. I make my own decisions. I don't have to have her there. This is not that type of marriage, and you have to back off at that point. But 95% of the times, 95% of the people that are married, they need their spouse there. So who's a decision maker? A spouse. A spouse, I don't care if they're married, if they're just engaged, they live together and they share the expenses at home. That's a spouse to me, right? Or even if they're not going to get married, but they live together, they have a baby, they have a son, they have a daughter, that's a spouse to me, all right? If you're talking to a woman or you're talking to a man, and the woman says, or the man says, I'm just going to say woman, says, listen, no, I don't have any business partners. I'm not married, but I want my boyfriend to be there. He's really savvy in business. He's a dentist, or he's just, he's got his own practice, whatever it is, whatever he does. And he's really savvy when it comes to investments. And I want him just to help me make that decision. Not a decision maker. That's not a decision maker. Now, of course, you're going to have a doubt right there. You want to clarify, right? Is he your business partner? No. Do you guys share household expenses? No. So when you make a purchase, you have to consult with him. I don't have to consult with him. I just want him to, that's not a decision maker. You're going to turn him down. You're going to turn that down. You're going to tell him that you cannot take the call with someone who's not a direct recipient of the benefit of the program, a direct investor or a direct partner. All right. You are going, and later on, I'm going to teach you how to get out of that one. My attorney. Oh, a lot of salespeople get really impressed with this one. My attorney helps me out, make these decisions. Is your attorney an experienced investor? Is he a real estate expert or an e-commerce expert? Or is he a Bitcoin expert? Or no, he's not. Okay, so how is he going to help you? He's an attorney. He's your attorney. Well, no, he's going to tell me make the financial decisions. If you have a husband, if you have a significant other, a business partner, they're welcome to be here, someone who's directly involved in the process. Now, you might be asking yourself, how am I going to tell a customer? How am I going to demand for that from a customer? Listen, if you're in control of that call, you will, and they will listen to you. I'm not teaching you this because I think this is the way it would go. I'm telling you because once you have control of a call, they will absolutely abide to what you're saying. And if they don't, they were not going to sign up in the first place anyway. All right. So you got to get away from that. So you got to be careful with decision makers. Neighbors, my neighbor wants to help me make this decision, not a decision maker, my accountant. Here's the problem. if you allow a third party that has no concept, who's not consequential to the investment nor to the benefit of the program or service that you're selling, they will never, ever, ever, ever condone that transaction. They will always be against it. They will antagonize and they would ask you questions that are completely not relevant. And you can never ask them questions that can make them compromise to the psychological process because they have no stakes in the matter. So be wise. And if this is not a decision maker, a real decision maker, turn down the call. Now, here's another thought. Well, if I'm not doing anything, why don't I just take a swing? Yeah, you can take a swing. How many swings would it take you to be able to get to close one of them? You will close eventually. Somebody's going to say yes, but how many? 1,000, 300, 500? I'm not willing to take swings until I can close one. When I can spend my time trying to find another close with the right decision makers or just one person who makes decisions on that call. Be wise. Don't waste your time, your energy, because this is this type of deal, if you're not landing punches, you get tired. Oh my gosh, I've been on streaks where, I pitch 5 calls and I don't close. My gosh, am I tired? All right. Yeah, it happens to the best. Make sure that you understand exactly who a decision maker is. Catch you on the flip.